Hello everyone, my name is Angel. Today I would like to introduce you about my historical artifact from Raden Ajeng Kartini. So a book that I chose for my historical artifact is from Letters of a Japanese Princess, which is a collection of a letter that Kartini wrote for her friends in Dutch. So her background is Kartini was born in Jepara 21st April 1879. So 21st April also celebrate or known by a Kartini's Day because it remembrance of Kartini's movement of education in Indonesia. And her full name is Raden Ajeng Kartini. So Raden Ajeng is a title of Java because Raden Ajeng is one of the Japanese princess which is born from noble family. She also values Japanese manners and rural dressing, which she needs to follow it every day. So she also wrote several books. There are three books that she wrote also about education and equality women in Indonesia. So at that time, people are really value about traditional practices, or they call it adat, and also takdir, which is destiny or fate, because they believe that woman was born to get married, so they don't have opportunity for their future, like they don't have opportunity to choose whatever they want for their future because their family like give a doctrine for to them that they need to get married and they need to follow what their husband or man told them to do. So Kartini, which is born from the noble family, she was doctrined by her family or parents that she needs to get married at the end of the day, but she really refused these traditional practices. So that's why she really wants that she wants to women to get equal opportunities men to do. And second one for the context is she left at school. She left school at the age of 12, which is they consider it's a proper age to leave school at that time and stay at home to practice more on what a woman should do for like household or so she begged her father that she really wants to continue her study and to get serious in the upper level of education. But of course, at that time, her father doesn't allow her to go to any other school or any other study. And because of this rebellious action of Kartini, her father decided that she cannot leave certain place which is called Kabupaten for 4 years, that she cannot go somewhere else. And then during that time, she spent her time to study or to read books that her father provided. But the books is in Dutch language, so sometimes she cannot understand the language, but she really eager to learn. So she tried to understand the book by herself by study and also read it every day. And so also because of that doctrine, because of that bitter experience that she experienced in her family, she believed that women also need education and being knowledgeable rather than staying at home. So she started to write letters to her friend in Dutch who supported Kartini a lot. So in her 23 at letter, 23rd at letter, she wrote about her desire to spread education for women. She wanted that the same opportunity to study for women, and women could have or could choose what they wanted for their future, which is not only to get married. Her letter influenced not just Indonesian but also international, since she sent this letter to her Dutch friends. And these powerful statements in her letter raised awareness about lack of opportunities for girls' education. So because of the serious action and also brave movement that Kartini made for Indonesia, it influenced the current educational now. So the first one is education for girls and also gender stereotypes. Before, as I mentioned, they for women they needs to leave school at the age of 12. But for now, the government made a policy that at least Indonesian have or receive education for 12 years. So they provided public school for um, at least for 3 years, which is from elementary, junior high school, and also senior high school. So these school are free, which is a public school is from the government. And before, only boys or men could go to school to get deserved education. So, but for now, Indonesia has provided schools for everyone and make significant progress that show girls also can show their intelligence and skills. So that's why Indonesian girls now can choose whatever they want for their education and their desire for their life, whether they want to get married or also want to continue their study. And the second one is practical skills. So Kartini realized that education also important to sharpen their skill and also knowledge. So it's not only accomplishment based like memorization or stuff, but also practical skills. So nowadays the curriculum incorporate practical and accomplishment based skills to education into the curriculum. So women also able to find a good job or to work after they finish their study. So they also make the curriculum incorporate that about creativity and also cultural awareness. The third one is holistic learning. So Kartini mentioned in her 23rd letter that she imagined herself she could teach children and form their character to spark curiosity in young people so that in the future the generation of women can enlighten their minds. So she really wanted to build holistic learning for a future generation which focus the whole being of children rather than they only good at academic knowledge. So now in Indonesia, they began to develop holistic learning through a program from Indonesian Heritage Foundation. They call it CBHE, which is Character-Based Holistic Education. This is a really new program in Indonesia. So in order to develop this holistic learning, they train teachers, they train through seminars and also workshops. So this program has been spread in Indonesia, in several places in Indonesia, so they really get influence from Kartini, which is holistic learning. Relevant explanation, which is social status and cultures. So at that time, they really value family rank and also family who are born in a noble family. So they really value on classes in society. However, due to the statement by Kartini and also modernization era, now that Javanese still have rank and they also still have a loyal family, which is they live in the palace in Javanese. However, they're not strict in law, like there's no unequal opportunity for men and women. And they realize nowadays people have the same or equal opportunity in their life. So in Javanese, one of the example from Javanese palace is Yogyakarta. Now that they allow people to visit the palace and interact with their royal descendants, so there's no strict law or strict adat anymore or traditional practices, which is more flexible because of the statement by Kartini and also modern. So the biblical perspective that I can see from the historical artifact is the first one is stewardship, which is connected with Genesis chapter 1 verse 28. It's about dominion, over the fish of the sea and over the birds of the heavens. So in here what I can see is that the Bible teach human to rules and also to have stewards of God's creation, which is responsible for every human, which is man and woman. So Kartini put her effort into improving woman's life in the earth and can be seen as a form of responsible stewardship that is equal to everyone that God given to us. The second one is fairness and equality. It's from Galatians chapter 3 verse 28. So there's emphasized that there is no male and female, for you are all one in Christ. So the Bible calls for justice among people. So in here, we're the same, whether we are women or men, we're the same in God's eyes. So Kartini's movement for equal educational access, especially about gender equality and also social justice of limited opportunities for women, is really reflect on this Bible verse. The third one is Proverbs 22 verse 6. It's about the parents that need to train her children. So the Bible said that educate your children, and also connected with Ephesians 6 verse 4 about fathers, do not provoke your children to anger, but bring them up in the discipline and instruction of the Lord. So in here, we can see that God give parents a special duty, which to take care of their children, to raise and educate their children in Christ. So in here we can see that parents need to teach what is right according to God's eyes. So the last part of the historical artifact is the major philosophy. However, when I read this book, the letters that she wrote, I can see that she's really holding the principle of humanism, which she wants, or she really fights for the good of others, which is for everyone, for good women and men. And in major philosophy that I can see in here is metaphysics. So at that time, knowledge is something limited, which is controlled by certain people, also certain social orders. And knowledge exists within the underlying of social roles and also social orders. For the epistemology, they at that time, since I mentioned that they're really limiting education of access for women, so they cannot really see what is real, what is truth. So in here, they only have a doctrine that what is truth is what they practice in everyday life. So they call it adat, or traditional practices, and also destiny, which they really hold it in their family. And then for axiology is what Kartini takes in her judgment, which is she really wants to see, or she really wants to show that there is good and bad for a woman. And Kartini believes that education's aim is to stimulate critical thought. So Kartini wanted women to control their futures by learning to ponder their options, so they can choose whatever they see, whatever they want as their choices in the future.